Alright, we are back for another video, and even though this is in tier list format, we are not doing a tier list, don't worry about that. The only reason this video is even going to be in tier list format is just because it's going to be easier for me to you know, visualize everything and show you guys what I'm going to be talking about. So yeah, today's video is going to be all about the graces and which units benefit the most from which grace. So you know, we do have Ludo, Sario, and Sario, 3 of the 4 archangels. What does Ludo's grace do? For the first 2 turns of the fight, you cannot be stunned or petrified. Very simple. Sario's grace, heal HP equal to 200% of the unit's defense. Very good. And Sario's grace is when you perform a crit, ignore 50% of the enemy's critical defense. So if they have 50% crit defense, you ignore 25. If they have 100% crit defense, you ignore 50% of that. So you just whatever crit defense they have, you just half it basically. So yeah, now if you have a keen eye, you'll probably notice one thing, and that there is barely anyone on this list who has a fate link. Most of these units do not have fate links. The only units who have a fate link that are on this tier list or on this list is Nunchuck Barn and this Diane right here. Everyone else does not have a fate link. If you don't know what fate link is, it's basically a link that provides a stronger ultimate for you. You know, everyone here pretty much except for Barn and Diane have relationship links, which is perfectly fine. You know, it's just that fate link is very important because that is 1000 extra CC. So anyone who actually does have a fate link besides Barn and Diane, I would not recommend you use a grace on them, in my opinion, of course, because there's literally no reason. But let's get into it. So Ludo grace, why would you want to give these units Ludo's grace? Well, actually, this unit right here, this is actually Oslo and Hawk. It's just that there is no Oslo and Hawk on this tier list, so I'm just gonna have to use this. But this is Oslo and Hawk, you know, the super whale unit. So yeah, let's begin. Festival King, why would you want to give him Ludo's grace? Very simple, just so he doesn't get stunned, and that's pretty much the same for Hendrickson. I mean, depends on which one you want to give it to. It doesn't really matter too much. Hendrickson, you need him to apply the debuffs, and then you need King to, you know, either use his ultimate or to use the attacks that will take advantage from the debuffs. So that's why it's very important for either one of these two to have the grace. I would probably give it to King, just because Hendrickson is whatever. If you're using the Festival King team, you're probably going to go first in most of your games. So, you know, there's probably no need to give it to Hendrickson. King is probably the one who needs it more, but just in case, if you do go second, probably give it to Hendrickson, because if he can't get your debuffs on the opponent, there is, you know, the entire Hendrickson King team just falls apart. So yeah. Next up is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is a good candidate for Ludo's grace if you're not using Ludo on the team or whatever, because she actually benefits from it. Being able to stun and put up the damage nullifying shield, that is very good. You don't want your opponent's list to just stun your list forever. That would be very bad for you. So I think it's pretty simple, you know, to understand why Liz would take advantage of Ludo's grace. Obviously, if you're using her in an alt rush team, even better. She can't be stunned, so happy days there. And Oslo and Hawk, if you have Ludo grace on Oslo and Hawk, you are 100% guaranteed to get their ultimate and fire it off in the next turn without the opponent being able to do literally anything to you. They have a special play where if you rank them up, use both of their skills, they will get their ultimate on that same turn from 0 to 5 gauge. And since Elizabeth is so popular in the meta, if you have Ludo grace, there's pretty much nothing the opponent can do. They would need to have like a red Zeldris or like a Tamio or like a green Merlin in the front to stop you from doing that. And you know, those units aren't used as often. So yeah, having Ludo grace on Oslo and Hawk pretty much guarantees an ultimate for you no matter what. So yeah, that's why. There's probably a few other units you could put on there, but none that really came to mind in my opinion. From, you know, looking over all of the units, there's not really anyone else I would consider giving Ludo's grace to. Some of you might think give Ludo's grace to an alt rush unit or like a unit with a strong ultimate. I would not recommend that. Literally, like I said, most units you're probably just going to want to use their fate link because it's just the best thing for them. That's why there's very few units on here. You know, we're not just going to put every DPS under Sario Grace, or like every tank under Tamio Grace, or like every alt rush unit under Ludo Grace, because that would not be that would not be very intelligent. So yeah, we're done with Ludo Grace. Now let's go to Tamio's. The simple facts: Droll, both of the Drolls, and this Diane and Valenti and Lilia. If we just put Barn here, all of these first 5, quite simply, Tamio Grace, because they have high defense. If they have high defense, they're gonna you know, heal back HP at the start of every turn, and they're gonna heal back a ton of it. So you know, that's pretty much it really. Obviously for Diane it's even better because she's a taunt unit and she needs to keep herself topped up. She needs to be sustained. So that's why Tamio Grace is the best thing for her. Like I said, the same with Lilia and Valenti. They just have incredibly high defense, so why not? There's literally no better link to give them besides Tamio, so you know, go ahead. The same with Droll. You could give them Diane link, but that's only going to give them extra defense, like 340 defense, where you could just give them this Grace instead, and they're going to heal back like 50% of their HP at the start of every turn if they take damage. So I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. And with Barn, the only reason why you would even use Tamio Grace, even though Barn does have a fate link with Jericho, is that Barn snatches everyone's defense at the start of every game. He has like around 30k defense here or there, you know, give or take how strong your enemy is. 30k defense with Tamio Grace, that is almost a full heal every single turn if he gets touched. Like, that is insane. Other than that, there's not really much reason to use Tamio Grace on him, but that's pretty much it. Very simple. Tamio Grace doesn't do too much. It just heals you back by, you know, 200% of whatever your defense is. So yeah, very simple. Next up is Sario Grace. Now you might be thinking, why is not every single like DPS unit under here? Because like I said, a lot of the DPS units do have fate links, especially the older ones. So it's just not worth to give it to them, in my opinion anyway. That's pretty much it. Both of the Zeldrises will benefit. Red Zeldris probably less so if you're running him on HP defense. If you run him with attack crit damage, you will definitely benefit from Sario Grace. Same with Blue Zeldris, he's gonna crit all the time in specific teams. Give him Sario Grace. Levi guarantees crits, give him Sario Grace. Like, there's just no two ways about it, just give it to the man. Blue Arthur can guaranteed crit pretty much. Actually, Blue Arthur is a bit different because he actually has a crit chance relationship link with Merlin, so maybe Sario Grace isn't the greatest idea. If you're running him in a team where maybe he can't crit as often, then probably use Merlin as his link. But if you have him in a team where he's gonna crit very often, then definitely give him Sario Grace. With the buff to Sever, Mono pretty much guarantees crits at this point, so you can probably give her Sario Grace. And Green Shin gets to a point where he guarantees crits because he's going to increase his attack related stats by, is it 6% up to 3 skills used, so it's almost like 20% attack related stats if I recall correctly. It might be a little higher, it might be a little lower, I can't remember off the top of my head. In fact, let me just check actually. Let me just check Shin. 8%. Oh, okay, so on the third use of a skill, he will have 24% attack related stat buff. So yeah, no, that's not too bad. Yeah, so Shin can definitely benefit from Sario Grace. And there are just a few more units I do want to touch on. This Liz, you can give her Ludo Grace if you're willing to lose a bit of CC. She does have a fate link with the Fat King, but given that she starts the game with 2 gauge, 2 gauge if you're not using alt food, 3 gauge if you go first with alt food, and 4 gauge if you go second with alt food. So you know, at that point, losing that little bit of CC just to guarantee she can't be stunned, I think that's a pretty good trade-off. But if you're not comfortable with that, or if your Ludo doesn't have a high alt level, then you can probably just keep the Fat King fate link with her. And next up is 2 DPS units, both Kyo and Lost Vein. I'm undecided between these two because honestly, you could literally give them either, or you could give Lost Vein Sario's Grace, or you could give him Ludo's. Same thing with Kyo, you could give him Sario's Grace, or you could give him Ludo's. I would say Kyo is lesser on the Ludo side and more on the Sario side, just because if you're using Kyo, you're probably not going to be using him in an alt rush team. But then again, in your DPS team, maybe you do not want him to be stunned because his damage is very valuable. The same thing with Lost Vein. Lost Vein is more of an ult rush unit than Kyo is, but Lost Vein does crit really often, so it depends. Yeah, you have to be mindful. You have to be smart when you're team building. If you're using Lost Vein in like an ult rush team, sure thing, go ahead, you can give him Ludo Grace. If you're using him in a team that is more DPS oriented, you could give him Sario's Grace. If you're running Lost Vein with another DPS, sure thing. If Lost Vein is your only DPS, then you probably do want to give him Ludo Grace. And Kyo, I mean, if he's not the only damage dealer, give him Sario Grace. If he's your only damage dealer, then, you know, you guys see where I'm going. Basically, just use your brain when you're team building. Using your brain when you're team building is very important, so you'll know which decision to make when the time comes. And I think that's pretty much it. I literally looked over all of the units and thought, you know, which ones would benefit, mainly from the good units. You know, I know someone might think, oh, just give a Titan and a Ludo Grace so he can become Titan, but it's not gonna work like that because he's gonna die before he even gets to use his ultimate. So, you know, Gotha, no. Fate Link is far too valuable, and I think that's, yeah. I guess my could benefit from Sario Grace or even Ludo Grace. Actually, I forgot, Mai is like a Lost Vein and Kyo. She could benefit from either or depending on which team she is. I completely forgot about Mai actually. So yeah, Mai is another one. She's gonna have super high crit chance at a certain point if you're using her with green Gotha. So perhaps Sario Grace is important. But if you're using her on something like, I don't know, like the kitchen sink, you can't use Ludo Grace. So yeah, honestly, this is my recommendation for all these units. Other units, I wouldn't recommend them to you to be used like to have Graces as their links. That's just my opinion though. Obviously do keep aware that, you know, if your Graces, if your Archangels aren't 6/6, you are gonna take a harsh penalty to your stats. If they're 6/6, of course you won't be taking any penalties, so do keep that in mind. I think that should be a big factor. For example, my Tamiyo is 2 out of 6, so I'm not really too comfortable using him as a link, because whoever I'm using him on as their link, they're gonna lose a lot of stats. So, you know, do keep that in mind. Whereas my Sario is 6/6, I can just give him to whoever I want and be fine with it, because they're gonna have you know, the highest stats they can possibly get. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Just wanted to give you guys a little idea. Perhaps you were confused on who benefits from what and stuff like that, but yeah, if they're not on this list, I probably wouldn't recommend you give them a Grace, because they, number one, either have a Fate Link, which is more important than the Grace, and two, they're probably garbage, so there's no point even giving them the Grace. So yeah, but anyway guys, that will be it for this relatively short video. Also, do keep in mind, you can't stack Graces. Like, you can't, like, you know, you can't give Sario Ludo's Grace or something like that. That's not how they work. You can't stack them together. Goddess Liz does not have a Grace. That's why you know, even though she's Goddess, you can still give her a Grace. So just another little tidbit there that you're aware of. And yeah, that will be it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, do leave a like. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. Turn on that notification bell. I'll see you guys later on for another video. Oh, actually, no. Wait. Before we end it, one last one. Where is he? Rugal. Completely forgot. Rugal, give him Ludo Grace. Yes, give your Rugal Ludo Grace. Demon Meliodas, not worth giving him Ludo Grace, because he has a Fate Link that increases his crit chance, and he needs that crit chance to do more damage because he's not as strong as Rugal. Rugal can't be given Sario's Grace because he just doesn't crit. Tamiyo Grace is useless, but Ludo Grace for Rugal is very good. And yeah, I can't believe I forgot that, but yeah, that will be it guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. Take care. Special thank you to the channel members for supporting this channel. Someone, Sunny D, Munchkey, Panic AMN, Jay Bentley, Hidato X, 40A, Link7DS, Nitin Kumar, Shiro, Kami Free, It's Costi, JP Killer 115, A Vamos, Scumbag Scott, Sip, Aldrich, Henry Cow, Unforgiven, John Foltz, and Markovic.